Hi everybody, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf. Today we're going to be talking all about my skincare tips for mask wearers. Now, if you have to wear a mask full time, or even if you just have to wear a mask intermittently, masks can cause a multitude of issues for our skin. Now, they are definitely the lesser of two evils. We need to be protecting ourselves. We're not complaining, they are compulsory. But within this video, I'm going to be talking about my tips for helping to prevent those issues occurring in the first place, and also my tips to help your skin recover and repair after you've been wearing a mask. If you are new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I'm a qualified esthetician and lover of anything beauty, skincare and makeup. I no longer work in a salon or a clinic as my full-time job is now YouTube. I upload videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 PM London time, and I'm also on Instagram if you want to check me out over there. It's at Pampered Wolf, all lowercase, no spaces. I'd really appreciate it if you would consider clicking on that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Okay, so for me, there are two main issues that are caused by wearing a mask. Firstly, our skin tends to sweat a lot more underneath the mask because of the intense microclimate that's formed underneath there. It's incredibly hot, it's incredibly humid, it can be very uncomfortable. And we're quite lucky here in the UK because our conditions are quite mild. If you live in a hot, humid country already, these issues might be exacerbated tenfold for you. So my heart seriously does go out to you if you do live in a hot, humid country and you've got to wear a mask all day. So that, accompanied by the heat and moisture that breathing creates, makes your mask the perfect environment for bacteria growth. And because of the heat, the humidity, the bacteria growth, this causes problems like blocked pores, skin congestion, small breakouts on the skin, a little bit of irritation on the skin, large inflamed spots if you had blemishes there to begin with. And if you already suffer with acne or blemish prone skin, this can make the problem 10 times worse and very, very painful. Okay, so the second issue that I feel like is really, really important to highlight is that of friction and irritation. Now, let me just put my mask on to show you this in motion, although I'm sure you've already had first-hand experience of this already. Just pop this on. So as you can see, every single time I'm talking, my mask is moving and it's rubbing on my skin. This even happens when I'm just breathing, so it's very, very difficult to avoid. So this constant friction on certain areas of the skin can really disrupt the skin's protective barrier and damage it in certain areas. And the skin, to function at its best, needs that protective barrier to remain intact. You can get skin irritation, soreness, inflammation, a lot of redness. If you're already an eczema sufferer or a psoriasis sufferer, this can be exacerbated by wearing a mask, also contact dermatitis as well. So not everyone is going to suffer with both of those issues. So not everybody is going to get breakouts and not everybody is going to get irritation. So let's pick those apart and talk about them completely separately. So let's go into the breakouts, skin congestion, blackheads, blocked pores first. So my first tip is to have several masks with you. Don't just take one mask out with you that you're going to wear for the entire day, because by the end of the day, that mask will be so uncomfortable to wear because it will be extremely damp and it will be jam-packed full of bacteria. So what you want to do is take several masks out with you. If I know I'm going to be out for the full day, I take at least 3 or 4 masks with me, and as soon as I feel them getting even the slightest bit damp, I change them for a fresh one. That one goes in my handbag in a bag and it doesn't get used again until it's been through the washing machine at a high temperature and is completely clean. This tip won't stop bacteria buildup completely, nothing can do that, but it will definitely reduce it, and wearing a mask that isn't damp will also be so much more comfortable throughout the day. My second tip is to wear very, very minimal makeup underneath the mask. The heavier the makeup that you wear underneath there in that really damp and humid climate, the more chance you have of getting pore blockages and breakouts further on down the line. So very, very minimal around that area. I like to wear no foundation at all. If you have to wear a foundation, wear a light one or wear a concealer and just even your skin tone out with a concealer rather than a full-on heavy foundation. The less you have on your face underneath this area, the better it will be for you. I do have a video in the next couple of days that is going to be a makeup for mask wearers video, so do stay tuned for that. My third tip is to consider adding an antibacterial and anti-inflammatory cream to your skincare routine first thing in the morning. This will help prevent any future blemishes, and it will also decrease the inflammation from the blemishes that you actually have. So it's absolutely fantastic to do that, and you don't need to add really aggressive products to the skin in order for this to work. You can add really gentle products like an azelaic acid or a bakuchiol cream. These are my favorites. I've talked about them before in previous videos and they are absolutely phenomenal. Not only are they antibacterial, they are also anti-inflammatory, and they're suitable for anybody with a sensitive skin. Other ingredients with anti-inflammatory qualities are anything with licorice in, anything with green tea in, and also colloidal oatmeal. So if you've already got a cream within your routine with those things in, then absolutely fantastic. If you haven't, consider adding one in. My fourth tip is to not over-nourish your skin first thing in the morning. Now, this may shock a few people because surely you want to be taking care of your skin. And I definitely recommend that you still use a moisturizer, but don't use something overly nourishing if your skin doesn't need it. Obviously, if your skin is super, super dry, then you do still need to use those really rich creams. But for somebody like me whose skin is only slightly dry, I use something a little bit lighter because when I use those really extra nourishing creams, my skin stays a little bit tacky and a little bit damp, and that will just exacerbate the dampness within the mask and just make the problem 10 times worse. So if you don't need those really rich, heavy creams first thing in the morning, don't use them. Use something a little bit lighter. Tip 5 is for anybody that doesn't have any irritation that's been caused by the mask rubbing on their skin already. That's really, really important. So if you are worried about those pore blockages and those blemishes, but you don't have that skin irritation, this tip will be suitable for you. Now, I recommend getting an AHA or a BHA solution to add to your evening skincare routine. Don't use both, one is enough. So I would use that once a week. If your skin is already tolerant to AHAs or BHAs because you use them on a regular basis, you might want to use them more often, especially if your skin is blemish prone. AHAs and BHAs are exfoliants, so they'll get rid of those dead skin cells, which will then allow the natural oils within your skin to escape your skin rather than getting trapped inside and causing a pore blockage. They'll also clean right down inside that pore to make sure your pores are clean, which will reduce the probability of you getting those blocked pores and blemishes further on down the line. Once again, the use of exfoliants whilst wearing a mask is only suitable for those of you who aren't getting any irritation from wearing the mask. If you've got any irritation on your skin, I wouldn't advise you use an AHA or a BHA. So they're my tips for anybody that's worried about those blocked pores or blemishes. Now let's move on to skin irritation caused by friction. Tip 1 is to seriously look after your skin's protective barrier because it's that that's getting all of the hammer from you protecting yourself whilst wearing a mask. And your skin can't do its job properly, it can't hold in hydration if that protective skin barrier is damaged. So we really need to look after it. We need to make sure it's protected. We need to make sure it's hydrated at all times. And we need to add treatments to it to make sure it can rebuild itself overnight so it's ready to go again first thing in the morning. Now, I always recommend unscented creams because anything with a scent to it can really irritate the skin. You might not see it now, but you will see it further on down the line. So I always recommend any moisturizers without a scent. Completely unscented. Have I said that enough? I think I have. Also, those creams with added ceramides and also hyaluronic acid in, or anything that emulates the natural oils within the skin, those natural moisturizing factors. I have done a video already on my favorite affordable moisturizers. There are some great picks in there that will do all of these things, and I will link that up here for you. Tip 2 for anybody suffering with irritation is to seriously hydrate and nourish the skin just before you go to bed. Now, I seriously recommend using things like hyaluronic acid and then locking those in with extremely occlusive ingredients like Vaseline, Aquaphor, and I think CeraVe do a healing ointment which is also quite occlusive and really quite beneficial, although I haven't tried it myself. I've heard a lot of people who have and said it's absolutely fantastic. Now, you don't need to apply the Vaseline all over your skin, although it won't do you any harm. I would just apply it to the areas that are irritated at the time and then apply your regular products everywhere else. It's this area that you really want to concentrate on. Tip 3, if your skin is irritated, consider taking a break from any of those things that you already put on your skin that can cause extra irritation. So things like retinoids, AHAs, and BHAs, and some vitamin C's may be slightly irritating as well. Consider taking a break from those for a while until your skin is properly healed, because they can just exacerbate the problem a little bit. Now, if you're having to leave retinoids out because maybe you use a very, very strong retinoid like tretinoin, then I highly recommend switching to a bakuchiol for a while, which has a lot of similar properties to retinoids, but none of the nasty side effects like the irritation. I have done a video all about the similarities and differences between retinoids and bakuchiol. I'll link that up there for you just in case you're considering doing a little bit of a switch for a short period of time. And the last tip in this video for anybody suffering with irritation is to use a really gentle hydrating cleanser. Try not to use those cleansers with added AHAs and BHAs in if you're already using an AHA or BHA within your skincare routine, because you can't control where you put the cleanser. The cleanser will go everywhere. If you're using an AHA or a BHA, at least you can control where you put that AHA or BHA so you can miss out those areas of irritation. But with a cleanser, you can't really do that. So highly recommend using a very gentle and very hydrating cleanser to look after that skin barrier. I also recommend that you only cleanse your face the maximum of 3 times a day, which is once in the morning and 2 times at night. It seems completely justified that if you cleanse your skin more throughout the day, you'll remove that bacteria and that excess oil and sweat, which will contribute to blocked pores and blemishes later on down the line, especially as we've talked about the mask being the perfect environment for bacteria growth. But by cleansing the skin more often throughout the day, you're actually increasing the issue, because the more you cleanse your skin, the more you break down the skin's protective barrier. And it's that protective barrier that's not only keeping all the hydration in, it's also keeping all the nasties out. So they were my tips on how to avoid irritation, how to avoid those pore blockages and blemishes, and how to help your skin rebuild after wearing a mask. I really hope you found this video helpful. Do let me know what you thought about it in the comments section below. Do you do any of these tips already? Have you tried any of these? Are you having success? How are you feeling wearing a mask? It's really daunting, isn't it? It's not a pleasant experience, but you know, we're not complaining. It's compulsory. It's the way it's got to be for the foreseeable future. So we may as well get used to it and just put a few things in place to make sure our skin is protected. Hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.